When I was a kid, my dad would get me so excited about fishing. And then he'd wake me up at 5 a.m. to look for worms. And I'd say, what are we doing looking for worms? Well, we got to find the bait before we go fishing. And I would beg him, Dad, can't we just go to the bait store and buy worms for 20 cents? His whole life I made fun of him. I teased him about being cheap about the worms. Finally, one day he said to me, Rich, I wasn't being cheap. I was trying to teach you to enjoy the fish. I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, if you caught the worms, when you eventually caught the fish, you were going to feel really rewarded that you had done the entire process yourself. You needed to learn to enjoy the entire process from catching the worms to catching the fish. And this is such a great lesson for life because so many of us, we think we want that thing, but we hate the process to get there. Well, if you don't like the process, you probably aren't going to like the thing. If you want to become a writer, but you hate writing, you want to have the finished book. You want to be the best-selling author, but you just can't stay in writing, you're probably not on the right path. You need to find a way to like the writing so then you eventually do have the best-selling book. When I was in stand-up comedy, that's the way it worked. People would say, I don't want to write jokes, I don't want to go to open mics. They wanted to just be on the stage in front of 20,000 people already with their best-selling album. They thought they just deserved that because they were funny with their friends and family. But they didn't realize you need to do the work and you need to enjoy the work. You need to bring joy to the process. When I was at Enterprise Rent-A-Car when I was a kid, everybody was unhappy there. It was a very unhappy place to work. And then when I got there, I started to show up and be funny and tell stories and bring my report. And other people started to do it too, and it was catchy. And we had such a great branch. And we had an incredible time. But it was because we learned to enjoy the process. We weren't going to be miserable at that state in our lives. And a lot of those people went on to become managers at Enterprise, and they turned their branches into really fun offices. And I left because that wasn't the right path for me. You just need to understand the climb itself cannot be something that you hate because your subconscious mind is going to say, oh, you don't like that? I'm going to give you less of that. I'm going to give you less of these opportunities. I'm going to give you less of these chances. Because if you're not enjoying it, why would your subconscious mind provide more and more of these chances for you? And now here's the really funny thing. I was making this video. I've tried to make this video 3 times. I've had 3 technical issues where I made the entire video, and then when I went to go watch it, it wasn't there. One time it was audio. One time it was my phone completely freezing. One time I had forgotten to hit record. So the lesson is to enjoy the process. I was so angry. I was ready to just not do this video. And then I started laughing to myself because sometimes the lesson that I'm trying to tell you about, I need to hear myself. And that lesson was loud and clear today. I do enjoy the process of making these videos. I do enjoy the process of talking to you. I do enjoy the process of reading your comments back to me. Enjoy the process. It doesn't matter. It's okay. Just be okay with who you are. Be happy with the process. And then when you're standing on the mountain, you could say, wow, I really enjoyed that climb, and not, I'm so tired from that climb. If you like this video, subscribe.